Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We're from Group KBC2. The title of the project that was chosen by our group is Language in Society. First of all, I would like to introduce my group members. My name is Nur Yasmin Umairah binti Ramli, 1241180. Umi Syahira binti Saiful Bahri, 1241177. Siti Nur Fatihah binti Nur Hisham, 1241179. Nur Husna Sofia binti Muhammad Azhar, 1241183. Nur Alia Najiha binti Muhammad Sukarni, 1241187. And the last one is Nurul Amin Shakira binti Muhammad Suhaidi, 1241189. I will go through the table of contents. First, there is a slide with the introduction. The purpose of this project is to study the phenomenon of language change, especially the evolution of the Malay language in Malaysia. Language change is a natural process that occurs gradually as language adapts over time due to various internal and external factors. This project will explore the mechanism behind this language change, identifying both the types of language change and the reasons for the change. In addition, this project will focus on the media domain, where significant language changes occurs, providing relevant examples to illustrate the shift in language use. Finally, this project will be combined with a brief survey to examine perception of how Malaysians view this language change and provide insight into the community's response to the expanding nature of the Malay language. First, semantic change. Semantic change refers to any change in meaning of a word over the course of time. It is also a form of language change that can result in the modern meaning of a word being radically changed from the original meaning. How changes occurs? There are common types of semantic change which are broadening, narrowing, and metaphor. Broadening is the process in which the meaning of a word becomes more generalized over time. For example, the word doctor in Bahasa Melayu refers to someone with a medical degree, but now it has broadened to anyone with a prominent level of ability like Dr. Falsafah for PhD holders. Narrowing is the opposite process of broadening, where a word with a broad meaning becomes more specific. For example, the word berita in Bahasa Melayu simply means just information in Bahasa Melayu lama, but today it has become specific to news update in modern usage. And metaphor is the process of applying a word's meaning to another that may appear to be similar or share certain characteristics. A word that gets new meanings based on the metaphorical and figurative associations. For instance, the word otak in Bahasa Melayu refers to the organ in body, but also metaphorically refer to a person's intellect, such as dia adalah otak di belakang projek ini, meaning that he is the brain of the project. Next, why changes occur? There are several factors that contribute to semantic change, including contact with other languages. As we know, Malaysia is a multicultural society with various ethnic groups. This linguistic diversity leads to the adoption of foreign words and phrases into Bahasa Melayu. The influence of external languages can cause a word to adopt new meaning, such as the word of sushi. Sushi describes any Japanese-style food, not only the dish with rice and raw fish, but many languages have borrowed it and sometimes using it in a larger sense while keeping it original. Lastly, cultural and social change. As society evolves, words may get new meanings to reflect changes in lifestyle, values, and social structures. For example, the word gay meant joyful or carefree but evolved to mean homosexual due to changing social and cultural attitudes towards sexuality. While in technological progress, new inventions and concepts require words to describe them, and sometimes visiting words get new meanings to reflect technological innovation. For instance, the word mouse referred to the small rodent got the meaning of a computer input device due to the advent of computers. I will pass it to the next factors.
I am 1241177, Umi Shahira binti Saiful Bahri, will be talking about the next factor of language change, which is syntactic change in the Malay language. So, how the change happened? The main reason of the shift in the Malay sentence structures is because of the increasing use of the English language. As English became dominant in global business, technology, and science, it began shaping the language used by the Malay speakers, especially in the urban areas. So, this influence led to the incorporation of English sentence structure and words order into daily speech. So, how English affected Malay? As Malay speakers became more bilingual, many began translating directly from English language, which affected the way they form sentences. English, with its subject, verb, object order and its explicit tense markers, has had a major impact on how Malay language is spoken today. For example, in Old Malay, a sentence like "Saya pergi pasar, I go market" was common, where tense was often implied. However, in modern Malay, it would typically be "Saya akan pergi ke pasar", I will go to the market. Following a clearer subject, verb, object order, and explicitly tense marker, similar to the English sentence structure. So, why does it matter? The shift matters because it reflects of how languages change in response to the external influences. The increasing rigidity of Malay language mirrors the English more structured sentence, which make the modern Malay less flexible than it once was. So the changes in Malay language occurred because of the influence of English language, which led to a more rigid, structured sentence formation in the modern Malay.
Hi, my name is Nurul Anshakira binti Muhammad Sahidi, metric number 1241189, and on this part, we will talk about area or specific domain where language change mostly occurs in Malaysia. One area where linguistic change in Malaysia is media. As we know nowadays, media is rapidly developed around the world, especially through internet platforms, social media, and television. And it became a big impact on how Malaysians speak and adapt their language. There are three reasons for this linguistic shift. First, multilingualism and code switching. Second, globalization and English influence. And the last one, social media and new vocabulary. So let's take a look on these reasons. Let's take a look on multilingualism and code switching. So as we know that Malaysia is a multilingual country where various languages such as Malay, Mandarin, Tamil, and English. So, people or speakers that can speak more than one language, they have ability to use code switch or mix their languages when they communicate with people around them. Most of the time, people do code switch in informal conversation. And actually, in Malaysia, it became common to do code switch or mix our own languages in our daily conversation. Uh, and and even though we do code switch or mix our languages to speak with other people, and they understand what we want to say actually. And because of that, code switching and mix our language became commonly used in media, particularly in social media and television. And it became Malaysia's linguistic language, became reflects to Malaysia's linguistic diversity. And because of this, the media plays a big role in normalizing and spreading these languages. For example, Malaysians often mix English with Malay or Chinese dialects in everyday speech, and these become more prevalent in media content such as TV shows, social media posts, and advertisements. This influencing how language is used in informal communication. The widespread use of code switching in media helped normalize this practice, it making a common feature for everyday conversation in Malaysia. There is another example for media influence. In Malaysia, we have one TV series called as Malaysian Educational Comedy Series titled Of My English. This TV production make it as an effort to improve Malaysians' English knowledge in an interesting and fun way. So, in order to make the viewer understand what they try to teach, the actors tend to mix the language between Malay and English language. So, by that way, the viewer will understand, and it influences Malaysian people to mix the languages via informal conversation. So that means the media is powerful to influence Malaysian people to do code switch and mix our language. Second, globalization and English influence. As we know that globalization refers to the process of integration and interaction among countries, cultures, economies, and societies around the world driven by technology. So, on this part, globalization take a big role to influence the English language in our country. And because of the globalization, English became a dominant language in many media changes, especially on internet and international news network. And the use of English in advertising, social media, digital content, and television programs leads to language change in our country. Because of the globalization also, English terms are increasingly adapted into our local languages, especially in urban areas where the terms are in technology, business, and entertainment are commonly used in English form. And this shift toward the English usage in Malaysian media has to influence led to influence the English on local languages like Malay and Chinese dialect. Because of this influence also, Malaysian speaker are commonly code switch and mix our language with English. So the last reason for this part is social media and new vocabulary. Social media in Malaysia actually play a significant role in shaping and introducing new vocabulary to our people. As people engage with global and local trends, cultures, and technologies, there are some examples of how new vocabulary has emerged to Bahasa Melayu due to social media influence. So let's take a look on the slide. So the first word we have here is viral. The term viral has been adopted directly from a English language that describe a content that spreads quickly across to the social media platforms, reaching a large audience in a short amount of time. So the usage of word in Bahasa Melayu, it became video itu jadi viral di TikTok. That video went viral on TikTok. So for the second word, influencer. Influencer means that refer to someone or individuals who have the power to affect the purchasing decisions or opinions of others due to their social media presence. So the usage word in Bahasa Melayu, dia seorang influencer di Instagram. She is an influencer on Instagram. There are other words that became a new vocabulary that used in Bahasa Melayu in Malaysia, such as like selfie, FOMO. Them shows on social media, especially with the rise of Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook has influenced Bahasa Melayu. And the adoption of English terms like viral, selfie, FOMO, and others reflects that Malaysia's increasing globalized and digitalized society. And in addition, words from English are often integrated into daily language and sometimes adjusted to Bahasa Melayu usage, and this creating a blend of both languages.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Alina Ziha binti Muhammad Sukarni and my mentor number is 1241187. So today I would like to continue our presentations by explaining the analysis based on data collected through our Microsoft form, which is highlighting the key demographic factors such as age and education level alongside the change noted in the language itself. So by examining these findings, we aim to understand the factors influencing the adoption of new terms, the integration of English words, and also the shift towards a modern communication style in Bahasa Melayu. So let's begin by reviewing the data and insights provided. Okay, so let's start with question 1. So our first question is about age of respondents. So the chart illustrates the age distributions of respondents. The majority of participants fall within the age group 19 to 20 and followed by those aged 21 to 22. The smallest group consists of individuals aged 25 and above, and this suggests that younger individuals are more likely to engage in topics related to changes in Bahasa Melayu, potentially due to their exposure to evolving linguistic strands in modern communications. Okay, so for question number 2, it is about education level. So the chart indicates the most respondents possess a diploma or degree, representing a group with a significant academic background. So this could imply that individuals with higher educational qualification are more inclined to participate in discussions or research regarding to evolution of Bahasa Melayu. So their academic exposure may contribute to their understanding of language trends and changes. Okay, moving on to question 3. So question 3 asks, where do you live? So the chart shows that the most respondents, around 13, live in urban areas, while only 7 live in rural areas. This highlights a stronger representation from urban residents in our sample. Okay, so our fourth questions asks whether the respondents had noticed any change in the way Bahasa Melayu is used today compared to the past. Interestingly, 100% of the respondents said yes. This unanimous response indicates a widespread awareness of shift in the language. One potential reason for this change is the rise of slang and informal language driven by social media and youth culture. The next questions explore the specific changes people have observed in Bahasa Melayu. So respondents noted several key shifts, including the integration of new terms for technology and media, increased use of English words, and a general move to a more modern and informal communication style. Among these, the frequent incorporation of English terms was identified as the most significant, and these changes are largely influenced by digital platforms and global exposure. And the last of my part is for question 6. So this question focuses on how people view this change. So the results shows that 11 respondents were unsure about their stance. 6 saw the change as positive, while 5 perceived them negatively. So the high level of uncertainty suggests that many are still adapting to these shifts. So the rapid pace of modernization and linguistic evolution makes it challenging for people to form clear opinions. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Question 7. How often do you use words from other languages such as English in your Malay conversation? The chart highlights that 7 respondents are very often using the words from other languages such as English in their Malay conversation, while the other 15 respondents choose it sometimes. The high answers shows that majority of the respondents using words from other languages sometimes. This shows that the respondents naturally switch between languages for ease, clarity, and nuance in informal settings. Question number 8. How has technology like social media, texting influenced your usage in Bahasa Melayu? Based on the chart, 18 respondents choose that technology such as social media and text messaging has increased the use of informal expressions and abbreviations in their Malay language usage. Meanwhile, only 3 respondents felt that there was no significant impact from the use of technology on their language. Factors such as the efficiency of delivering information in short communication like text or quick messages, where abbreviations help convey messages more effectively without the need to write extensively, contribute to this trend. For question number 9, do you use Bahasa Melayu differently in online platforms versus formal settings? The chart demonstrates that 13 of respondents choose to use Bahasa Melayu differently in online platforms versus formal settings, while 5 respondents choose no and 4 respondents choose maybe. One of the factors is that on online platforms, people feel freer to speak without worrying about grammar. In formal settings, using proper language demonstrates professionalism and respect. For question number 10, how has the internet and social media affected of use of Bahasa Melayu? Based on the chart, 8 respondents feel that internet and social media encourage them to use Malay in a casual or abbreviated form. Meanwhile,
12 respondents plan to mix Malay and English, while only 2 remains consistent in using Malay. The majority believe that language mixing happens due to the influence of social media, which often uses both languages, making it a popular trend. For question 11, which period do you think influenced Bahasa Melayu the most? Based on the data, the pre-colonial era, 8 respondents, and modern globalization, 10 respondents, are the periods that most influenced Bahasa Melayu. The colonial era, 2 respondents, had a small impact mainly through loan words and administrative terms, while the post-independence era, 2 respondents focused on maintaining and standardizing Bahasa Melayu as the national language. Respondents choose modern globalization due to the strong influence of social media, the internet, and global interactions, leading to language mixing, the use of foreign terms, especially English, in daily life.
Question 12. The usage of Malay proverbs in everyday conversation. Based on the chart, we can see that the highest respondents, which is 14 respondents, say that they rarely use Malay proverbs in everyday conversation. And we can also see that there is no one that say that they never use Malay proverbs. And the lowest respondents that we can see, 3 respondents, say that they often use Malay proverbs in everyday conversation. We can see that from the chart, we can see that people rarely use Malay proverbs since we usually use Malay, so the people don't really think that Malay proverbs really fits to be in everyday conversation. Question 13. The influence of colonial history in the changes of Bahasa Melayu. Based on the charts, we can see that 16 respondents says that the Bahasa Melayu colonial history moderately influenced the Bahasa Melayu that we speak today. Even though the percentage of the respondents that say that colonial history influenced the changes, there is 1% that say that colonial history never have any influence, never have the effect on the changes of the Bahasa Melayu today. But from the majority of them, since they said that colonial history has a moderate influence in Bahasa Melayu, we can see today that the Malay people utilize English vocabulary in everyday conversation. So based on this conversation, we can see that English has been utilized in Malay conversation because the colonial history exists in Malaysia. Question 14. The influence of other cultures in the changes of Bahasa Melayu. Since Malaysia is a cultural diversity country, we can also say that other cultures have their influence on Bahasa Melayu that we speak today. From the graph above, you can see that there are 10 respondents that say that other cultures has a moderate influence in Bahasa Melayu, and half of the respondents say that culture diversity actually has a strong influence in the changes of Bahasa Melayu. Since Malaysia has other culture, like other language that they speak, like Chinese, Indian, Mandarin, and other language that they speak, these languages have an effect on the changes of Bahasa Melayu today, since they utilize the other vocabulary. vocabulary in other languages in the Malay conversation, in the Malay sentences. The last question number 15, the changes of Bahasa Melayu over 20 years. 12 respondents say that Bahasa Melayu has been more influenced by English over these past 20 years, and we clearly can see this since many of Malay vocabulary these days are the borrowed vocabulary from English. Like you can see that not many Malay people know about the words permaidani, since they always use carpet, which carpet is an English vocabulary, and they borrowed it and changed the words in the carpet to make it more Malay, since it is a borrowed vocabulary. And there are 2 respondents each that say that Malay Bahasa Melayu has been more formalized and has become more formalized and is less influenced by other language. We can see that not many people say that Bahasa Melayu is less influenced by other language, since we can see that the changes of Bahasa Melayu is being influenced by English. From our reports, we can say that the changes in Bahasa Melayu these changes highlight the impacts on the cultures and the language and the linguistic landscape in our society. From our research, we can clearly see that the usage of English has been increasing in Bahasa Melayu. The impact of technology and the digitalizations in the Bahasa Melayu, in the Malay language, and we can see that there is new dialects. There are new dialects that we can see in the Malay conversation these days. Even though there are changes in Bahasa Melayu, it is crucial for us to preserve it and embrace the changes, these changes of Bahasa Melayu, since Bahasa Melayu is an integrity for the future generations, so we have to embrace it. Also, we have to preserve the Malay language that we use these days.